Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Real Cooking with Rapid Rod. Today's meal is going to be a very quick 1, 2, 3 dish, basically something you can make when you come home in a late evening from work, you don't feel like doing too much. It's going to be spinach and cheese tortellini with meat sauce. And today's ingredients are going to be onion powder, some ancho chili powder, garlic powder, Mrs. Dash, table blend, and garlic and herb blend, cracked pepper of course. We're going to use a little garlic rosemary salt with the special grinder that I have to put a little extra flavor in there, and of course our extra virgin olive oil. We're going to start by sauteing some garlic and some onions in the frying pan, basically to get the pan prepared to season our ground beef, and we'll move from there. Okay, so we're back now and we're all measured out with the seasonings, and basically all of the seasonings are about a teaspoon, half teaspoon, nothing really more than that because there's not a whole lot of ground beef. So we're going to begin to add the seasonings, and first I'm going to add the ancho chili powder, then the Mrs. Dash table blend, the garlic powder, the Mrs. Dash onion and herb mix, my onion powder, some cracked pepper, and now we're going to use some garlic rosemary sea salt with the special grinder that we have. And we're going to add just a touch of that in lieu of any salt for the most part. And now, as a surprise, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to use a wooden spatula today. I'm not going to use my hand as I normally do, so I'm going to mix this all up nicely with my wooden spatula. And I'm going to mix it good. And I just want to point out, this is like 90% lean ground beef. It's probably a better idea to get 85% because you want that 15% of fat. This is not going to create a lot of grease in which to brown the ground beef. So I may have to add a little olive oil on the side if this doesn't kind of create enough of a grease or pan drippings to brown the ground beef. And that's basically what we're going to do next. We're going to, mix this up real nice, let it set for a couple of minutes, just a couple of minutes, and go back to the skillet, and we're going to brown some chopped garlic, some fresh chopped garlic, and some fresh chopped onions, in which we're going to add this ground beef. And in fact, I just had a better idea. Instead of sauteing the chopped garlic and the chopped garlic and onions, I'm just going to mix it right into the ground beef. And then this is the onions going in, the garlic went in first. And when I mix that up nicely in the ground beef, then I'll just brown everything at the same time. There's no need to really saute the onions and garlic in this kind of situation. I just mix it in with the ground beef and let it all cook up at the same time. It'll cook up very nicely and very evenly. So we're going to try it this way as opposed to the sauteing. All right, ladies and gents, this is what the ground beef looks like with the chopped garlic and the chopped onions in it. And now we're going to go ahead and basically put it in the skillet. We're going to preheat the skillet to a nice temperature. Now here's the thing. As I said before, this is 90% lean ground beef. It's not going to make a lot of grease. I didn't want to go with grease right away from the beginning. I wanted to see what kind of grease this ground beef will make. What I've done instead was just to re-season my skillet with some real nice olive oil, and I hope that that's going to basically be enough to get this ground beef browned. If not, I will add a dollop or two of olive oil. We're also getting the big boiling pot ready because we're going to boil our tortellini in that in just a moment. So stay with us and we'll take you right to where we're going to be at. Okay, so we've got the ground beef in the pan. It is browning a little bit, but looks like I'm going to have to give it a little bit of help. So I'm going to give it some of this jalapeno olive oil. This is a really high-grade olive oil with just a touch of jalapeno flavor, which should kind of create a nice little zest to the ground beef. So we're going to go ahead and add just a touch of that, not too much, right in the center, to let it warm up, and we'll continue browning the ground beef Yeah, it's all kind of sizzling in here. So we're going to make it happen. Usually there'd be a lot more grease in the pan than this because, as I said, if you use 85% lean ground beef, you get a lot more grease in the pan, but this is 90. So we'll work with this. And as I was thinking of it, I'm going to add some finely chopped red and green bell peppers into the ground beef for extra flavor. And we'll throw these in as the ground beef is browning. Okay, so we've diced up our green and red bell peppers nicely, and we're going to add it in to the nicely browning ground beef. And we'll be back to finish this off. Okay, so we've got our ground beef nice and browned. It's not quite completely browned because we're going to cook it a little bit more after we add this organic marinara sauce from Trader Joe's. This is really some great stuff. They got some nice, pretty nice chunky plum tomatoes in here, and it should really spice up this sauce. So we're going to add this right in, and again, it didn't create a lot of oil, so we don't even have to drain the ground beef. So we'll mix this in, saute this down, continue to brown this ground beef within the sauce, and we'll get back to you in short order. All right, so we're back, and you can see the meat sauce bubbling nicely on a very low simmer. Now, this step you don't have to do if you don't want to. Personally, I really am not a fan of the vegetable bitter taste of tomato sauce. So I always add a 1/4 cup of brown sugar into my sauce because it makes it really, really nice, just quasi-sweet, and gives it a much more flavorful appeal to the taste buds, for me anyway. Again, as I said, if you're a traditionalist and you don't want to use the sugar, that's perfectly fine, but I find it just makes my recipes when I use tomato sauce and stuff, particularly spaghetti and stuff, just that much more flavorful and palatable. And we'll be back. And we have added the brown sugar, but I wanted to be sure to tell you that you certainly can add the brown sugar to taste. Basically, to what level of sweetness you like. I know how much I like, and so you just basically have to do it to taste. So this is sauteing down really, really nice, and we're going to come back shortly with the tortellini. I also wanted to point out that you should add that brown sugar as you are sauteing your sauce and it's at a boil, because you want that brown sugar to actually cook into the sauce and be a part of it as a blend, as opposed to being overstated and being an added extra, if that makes any sense. Okay, so we're about to boil the water for the tortellini to make that nice and hot. We've got the sauce in the back here sauteing on its own, and we're going to add just a pinch of salt to the water so that the tortellini has taste. This is rock salt, Himalayan rock salt. Also, I normally add, if I'm making spaghetti, I would normally add just a touch of olive oil to the water, because that stops the pasta from sticking to each other and makes it nice and flexible as you're boiling it. But to the extent this is tortellini, we're not going to do the olive oil this time. Okay, so we got our water boiling at a nice rapid boil, and we still have our sauce on the back burner sauteing, and we're now going to add the tortellini. We're going to cook this tortellini up for just about, we're going to bring it to a boil, and then drain it. For just about 4 minutes we're going to boil it, and then we're going to reduce the heat, drain it, and it should pretty much be done. And we'll be back. Okay, and as the tortellini is just about finishing up, I decided I'm going to add about a 1/3 cup of pepperoni to my sauce. I figured why not completely go out and be completely ridiculous. So we've added the chopped pepperoni into our meat sauce. So we now have ground beef and chopped pepperoni. The tortellini, on the other hand, is finishing up. It's coming to a nice soft boil, and we're about to strain it, and then we'll carry on from there. Okay, so the tortellini is finished boiling, so we're turning off the oven, and now we're going to drain it in a colander in the sink. We want to get all this water and moisture out of there. And our meal is just about ready and finished. We'll be back. Okay, so the tortellini is plated. Next comes the sauce, and then the finishing touch. Okay, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Rapid Rod's version of tortellini with meat sauce, both with ground beef and chopped pepperoni. We have spinach tortellini with regular tortellini stuffed with cheese and ricotta, and a little mozzarella on top. We're gonna bring over a little shaved Parmesan to finish it off, and we are going to grip, and grease. I want to thank you very much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please try the recipe. I think you'll find it quite enjoyable. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, hit that thumbs up button, and ladies and gentlemen, bon appetit!